The ultimate deck podcast. Need a show about outdoor living? This is where it's at. With your hosts, Shane Chapman and Wade Laurent. Thank you for tuning in. Now let the show begin. Yeah. The ultimate deck podcast. Let's go.
Welcome to episode 195.
Happy Friday, buddy.
Happy Friday. We made it.
Can you have a happy Tuesday?
You could. You could have a happy any day, couldn't you? Why, did you have a happy Tuesday?
No, I just like it seems like lots of people just say happy Friday, but only on Friday.
Is Friday always the best day of the week?
Nope.
No, I know, right? Lots of bad things can happen on a Friday. Why does Friday make it any better? Would you rather have something bad happen to you on a Friday or a Monday?
Monday.
Yeah. Then you're refreshed for the end of the week.
I'd rather have it happen on Monday because then you have all week to deal with it.
Yeah.
If it happens on Friday,
then you got to stew.
Ruins the weekend.
I agree. Totally agree.
It ruins it, and either like it weighs on you until Monday when you can deal with it.
Yep.
Or you actually end up having to deal with it and it takes away from your weekend.
Oh, yeah.
Like if you decide, well, that's too big of a problem, I have to fix this on Saturday.
Oh, yeah.
Then you worked 6 days that week.
Right. And then if you can't do it till Monday, then you just sit there thinking about how you're going to have to do it.
Half enjoying the weekend.
Right.
The whole time you have this like dark rain cloud following you.
Mm-hmm.
So I pick Monday.
I pick Monday too.
I'd say
You've convinced me. It's Monday.
Yeah. I'd say like Thursday is probably like the best day of the week.
Thursday's the best day of the week?
I think so. Like,
do you have a favorite day? Working. Do you have a favorite day of the week?
Because then like tomorrow's Friday and it's like only one more day and then the weekend.
They all really blend together for me. The only day I don't do anything on is Sunday typically.
Yeah, I was going to say my favorite day might be Sunday because I usually will not do anything on Sunday.
Yeah.
I feel like Sunday is the worst.
But then it's like cleaning and...
It's
then it's all the stuff you can't do when you're not working.
Yeah. Because Sunday is like, you're going back to work the next day.
Yeah.
So it's like you can't really do anything.
Yeah. Oh, well.
No,
okay.
I don't have a favorite day.
I don't have a favorite day either.
They're all pretty good.
Wednesday's pretty good, though.
Anytime I get to golf is a good day. And that would most often be on Wednesdays.
Do you think it's better to have a scheduled week then? Like the same things happen all the time?
No, but that's not my personality. I don't like that at all.
Okay.
Like some people work really well with that. They just like routine and schedules and...
Mm-hmm. Are you sure? Maybe you'd like it.
No, I can't. Nope.
Nope.
Even the idea of even thinking of that is like makes me uncomfortable.
Okay, let's get into some fun stuff. We argued last week, by the way. We argued last week, and I had quite a few comments about the talent and luck thing.
Yeah.
And nobody seems to agree with me.
So you may have convinced me on luck.
Yeah?
You may have. Yeah. Because you're right. Luck is something that like...
It's just a description. It's
the aftermath of it.
Yeah.
And so it's a descriptor.
Yeah.
You've described the outcome of something.
Yeah. You're not like... You can't influence luck in any way.
Yeah.
Really. Right?
Mm-hmm.
But...
Oh, I know what I had for an argument, though.
Oh, okay.
Speaking of luck. So...
We're going to get back into it.
Well, just for a little wee bit.
Just so people know.
What if you're in a plane and the plane crashes and you live? And so I thought about this because you were saying that it was like, well, if you win the lottery, there's just a statistical chance, right? And it's not luck. Like you don't, having the winning number isn't luck. It was lucky that you won.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
And so then for some reason I was thinking about crashing, like a plane crashing to the ground. And if you lived through that, did you would you say like, were you lucky? Were you a person that had luck? Because statistically,
yeah,
everyone had the same chance of living.
But maybe they didn't, because almost for sure there are certain seats that almost certainly cause death and some that don't.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Like if the person beside you dies and you live, would you call that lucky?
And then you picked your seat.
I think you can like scientifically explain away luck.
Sure.
Right. And that's why luck doesn't exist.
Right. It's the outcome.
You can scientifically explain it away because, like, say you're sitting next to the guy who's sitting next to the engine that's going to explode. He still has a chance that he might not die.
Yep.
And you might die because the shrapnel might fly through the window and he might cough.
And then
you die.
Leaned forward and then, you never know.
So.
Okay. Here we go. I'm ready.
I looked up some hard would you rather questions.
Yeah, excellent. These are always good.
Okay.
Because I put no thought into stuff like this. I just answer.
Right. Would you rather have no taste or be colorblind?
Colorblind.
I agree 100%. I would rather be colorblind.
Yeah.
Why?
Because I don't think it would matter to me as much if I could see color or not. But because you would still be able to see, you just wouldn't be able to see in detail.
You wouldn't be able to experience color.
But that's okay, I think, because you could still see everything.
Mm-hmm.
I'd argue that taste is more
experiential.
Important. Yeah, experiential than.
Yeah, because what you've described as something that's like completely gone versus something that's partially gone, and I would always take the partially gone.
Well, in March I had COVID and I lost my taste for 3 months, and it was terrible.
I bet I'd lose a ton of weight though if I didn't have taste.
Everything just tastes the same.
Yeah,
and you're like, yeah.
So did you still try to did you still drink good wine? Or did you not?
Well,
you were like,
because I was confused. I wasn't sure if I was tasting it or not. And I went to Spain during that time too.
Oh yeah.
And so
that's awesome.
So it's weird, right? And I tasted like we were tasting like 70 wines a day and stuff like that. But what I did notice is that I got really good at noticing all the other like structural elements of things, like how much alcohol, and like I could still notice something was sweet or not, but I couldn't taste any flavors off of it.
Gotcha.
So, yeah.
Okay.
Number 2, would you rather have the lights on or off if you knew the room was full of snakes?
On.
Off.
I choose on.
I hate looking at snakes.
Do you like snakes?
No.
Okay.
But I'm not I don't hate snakes either.
Oh, okay.
Like when I see a snake, it doesn't.
But if the room was full,
it doesn't immediately induce fear.
Okay.
But having something crawl on you and not knowing what it was, that
I agree
couldn't
with that.
do that. And I know that happens because if you're ever swimming, like in one of the lakes, and some
fish just like
but like some seaweed touches your leg.
Oh, even that.
Or it could be anything, but every time something touches my leg, it's either the Loch Ness Monster or a shark.
Right.
It's not it's not seaweed. I can tell you that. But then once I'm able to turn around and see it, then I'm okay.
Right. It's that
So
thing
I need
where
to
you shake your leg so hard you throw it out of socket.
Yeah. Yeah. How'd you die? I swam through the boat, and as I was trying to get away from one piece of vegetation.
That's the thing I hated the most about like tubing is when you were tubing and you'd get flipped and then you're just kind of like
lay there.
You're out there by yourself and then like something touches your legs and you're like, they're not coming back fast enough.
Yep.
Right.
And the panic was because you couldn't see it.
Exactly. Would you rather always hit a red light for the rest of your life or always have the internet slow down after the sun goes down?
Slower internet.
Yeah.
I hate red lights. And we're assuming the internet's at the speed that it is now, which is fine because I grew up in a dial-up stage.
Right, exactly.
And so
this is the wrong question.
This is fine.
Ask this to someone who's 20 years younger.
And never driven.
Always taking the bus.
Right? Yeah. No red lights for me, please.
Would you rather find $100 floating in a public toilet or $5 in your pocket?
$5 in my pocket.
What?
I would never do that.
Wade's a germaphobe.
I'm not a germaphobe, but I just
like wash it off.
Nope. Like even if I lost my phone in the toilet, I'd be like, it's gonzo.
I've had friends who've had to take their phones out of porta potties.
Nope.
Whoa.
Yeah. Like
there you go. So if I dropped a phone in a porta potty, I would never get it. Even if somebody else dug it out, cleaned it, and gave it back to me, I'd be like, nope.
What if that was your only way to get home and you didn't have any?
It's not. You can walk. You can walk home. Terry Fox ran across the country. It's not that far.
That's topical too, because it's right away.
That's for today.
It's next
actually.
week. Oh, I thought it was next week.
Well, the schools are doing it today.
Oh, okay.
Terry Fox ran today, but yeah, I would never What did I lose? I lost something. Oh, my tooth.
Oh,
So I have a crown
in the toilet?
and I swallowed it.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
And so the crown is $1,400.
Ooh.
I never even looked.
Yeah.
Oh, because you had to look through your own shit.
Mm-hmm.
I'll be honest, I don't think I'd put something in my mouth after it's been in my shit either, to be honest.
But they could clean it. But so there, you're like, would you do this for $100 or this for $5? And it was like, that was a $1,400 decision. And I was like, nope.
How much money would it have to be for you to pick it out of the toilet?
I don't know.
Like if it was like a bunch of diamonds and you're like,
those
are diamonds.
So you have a better chance of getting me to dig it out of a toilet because it's at least kind of clean and has water. Porta potty
No way.
is like
Zero. I agree with you there. I'm like, no way.
I can't imagine. I can't imagine what that number would have to be. It would have to be in like 6 figures before I would start to even consider it. Like if it was $100,000, I would maybe consider.
Ooh.
I just can't like.
Oh, I think maybe at like, oh man, I would say even maybe at 10 grand, I might go and do that.
Oh.
Anything under that, I don't think I'd do it for, but
Yeah. I'd do it for
it'd be like
$5,000.
10 minutes. Really?
I'd do it for $5,000.
Ooh. 50 bucks.
Okay, Jacob.
Right?
There's always one of those guys.
Yeah.
Jacob's got long arms though, so maybe you wouldn't have to go all the way in.
Okay. Would you rather be 4 years old for your entire life or 90 years old for your entire life?
Oh boy. I think 90.
Oh, really?
Yep.
I've seen some pretty spry 90-year-olds. I don't know.
Oh, yeah. I've seen some pretty spry 4-year-olds
Yeah,
too.
but 4-year-olds, you can't. I don't know. Can you talk at 4?
Yeah.
But you
have
can't.
baby legs.
You do have baby legs, and your head's probably a little too big for your body.
Yeah. So the appealing part of 90 is the mental capacity.
Yeah.
But you'd potentially be losing it too.
But if you're 90 for your entire life,
You
you're
didn't-
not getting any.
Oh, that's
older.
fair. I didn't say that. But
There was
That's fair.
nothing around like cognitive disability or
I think
physical disability.
the best part about being 4 that you wouldn't get when you're 90 is still being able to be picked up.
Right.
Like if like think about that nowadays. If like some giant being just like when you're like, oh man, this is the worst day ever, came and just like picked you up.
Yep.
And you're like, oh yeah, now I feel better.
Boy,
Can't
I
do
don't
that
know.
when you're 90.
Yeah. I think 90 would be
Yeah.
Would you rather give up on cursing forever or give up on ice cream for the next 10 years? No swearing.
ice cream for 10 years.
I agree.
Yeah. I mean, like, do you have to consciously give it up? Like,
Yeah.
Swearing forever. I might change my mind on that one. So I would actually, if I try this occasionally, I will try to like swear less because
Okay.
it does a few things. So when you swear, you immediately sound less educated.
That's true.
Like immediately.
Yep.
And it also changes the environment around you. And what I mean by that is that people then act differently. They either become more comfortable and then you start to see who they really are,
Mhm.
maybe, or maybe not. Or they don't like swearing and then they like clam up and you don't get to see them.
Yeah.
You don't, like,
Yeah.
you have 2 reactions, right?
Yeah.
And I do think that less swearing is a little bit better for sure. Because, when you're around kids, everybody does it anyways. Everybody already like changes how much they swear around kids or at schools or in certain business environments. Like if you were in a business meeting trying to sell somebody 18 cases of wine, you'd be like, this is the best effing wine on the whole planet.
You know what? It all depends. The wine that I sell is pretty easy to sell to hipsters. So,
But that's not how you would start. You would go in without swearing until you got a read on that person.
that's true. That's true. So, like, my view on swearing is that swearing is generally just words and people put too much emotion behind it. So if it was like swearing in terms of like being angry all the time,
Mhm.
yeah, I don't like that. I think that's dumb when people use it that way.
Right.
Swearing should be fun. That's how I view it. And so I agree with you. I think like in today's day and age, right, you have to be conscious about where you're going to do it. But if it was like only used for fun, then it wouldn't matter to me.
Do you swear around your daughter all the time?
I do. We let her swear too.
Really?
Only in front of us though. And it has to be, it can't be used in anger.
Yeah, they're going to do it anyway. You know,
Like you probably did it when you were a kid.
Swear?
Yeah.
it's like,
Not in front of your parents.
It was only like 3 years ago that I finally swore in front of my parents.
Yeah.
Like, and I still
My mom hates it.
I have an actual physical reaction to my body happens when I swear. And it's like, it feels like I get goosebumps, or I feel like.
Right. But it's only those words, right? It's only like the F word.
Yeah.
But like, so say another word that has absolutely no meaning, but then think about the meaning that you'd be using behind a swear, and you'd be okay saying that to your parents probably.
Maybe.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So.
That's crazy.
Kids aren't allowed to swear at school though either, because you never know what type of person you're going to be in front of, like you were saying, right? Because it can change the way people view you, which is fine.
And then act.
And then act. And I think for kids, it's even worse. But if you can teach people how to use it properly, because that's the other thing. No one gets taught how to swear.
I had to teach my mom how to swear. She used to be awful at it.
See?
She'd put the swear in the wrong part of the sentence.
That was just like our daughter. She would,
Mom, you're getting that wrong.
exactly.
It's
And
gotta
it's
be over
so
here.
funny.
So, but then do that as a kid trying to teach your mom, right?
Yeah.
And then, so I wasn't allowed to say the swear, but I was trying to like teach her where to put it. So anyways, she was awful at it. And I don't think that that's a bad thing.
That's not a bad thing. I just think they're just words.
So
for the most part.
I choose no more swearing.
I would give up ice cream because I also think that the year, like the 10th year, could you imagine how good ice cream would taste at that point?
What if you became completely lactose intolerant and you had it and it was
Man, that would be the worst.
Because you're allowed to swear, you'd be like, I'm shitting everywhere. Yeah, I just think like if you took 10 years off milk, that might not be the best move.
Okay, the last one. This is a little dark. Okay. If you were stranded on an island with no food, with your dog and your sibling. God, I can't believe I'm going to read this. Would you kill your dog to feed your sibling or let your sibling die of hunger?
I'd kill my dog.
Yep.
Yeah, because they have a shorter lifespan anyways.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. I agree. It's dark though.
But
It's what it is.
What if you really didn't like your sibling?
If your sibling's dying of hunger, are they really going to survive after you kill the dog anyway?
Right.
At least your dog
Oh.
is easier to feed, right? If your sibling's going to die because
Whoa.
you have to kill your dog.
Yeah. You get like 3 meals out of that dog.
Yeah.
Right.
Or
Depending on how
less.
big your dog is.
Yeah.
Right. So mine's good. He's 80 pounds, so you might be
Yeah.
able to live off him for a few months.
And it's like,
But if your sibling is dying of hunger, your dog could get you food, right? Where your
Yeah.
sibling might not be able to.
Yeah.
And your dog's never going to leave you alone, generally.
Yeah.
Dogs
dog
don't
is-
talk back.
yeah, dogs, you're not going to have a mutiny from your dog, you know? Like,
Kyle's trying to convince everybody to let their siblings
Just go
die.
ahead.
hey man, I have a brother and like I love him, but like
You'd let him die.
between my dog and him, if he's not able to get himself food, I mean, he's dead weight.
Oh my God. Now you know where Kyler
Yeah.
stands.
I'm not going on Survivor with him.
Exactly.
Not
He's
good.
going to leave you in the
Yeah.
dust.
Yeah.
Okay, let's get to our topic today. That's enough of those.
Oh, that's a good one. I always like ending on like hot button ones.
Hot
like
button.
that.
Well, then people talk about it. So,
Are you reading this? Am I reading this?
you're reading this. This
It's
is your
happening
thing.
here. Okay.
What's the topic today, Wade?
Well, since it's the fall, I think we should talk about cleaning and maintaining your composite decking.
I just want to say that's a bad word around here. That's a curse word. It feels like
Yeah.
What?
fall.
Fall is awesome. Fall's the best time of year.
I love fall personally. I like wearing sweaters. I had a sweater on earlier today, but I wasn't allowed to wear it on camera.
Cardigan.
Yeah. I like hot coffees.
How do you feel about pumpkin
I'm not
spice?
a pumpkin spice latte guy.
That's good. This all would have been over if you were.
I tried one of those from Tim Hortons, their pumpkin spice ice cap. It's kind of weird. It literally just tastes like pumpkin pie in a drink form. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you like pumpkin pie?
No.
I think we talked. No, I
don't
asked
like
Shane
pumpkin
about
pie.
this.
I don't like pumpkin pie.
What do you like instead?
Cherry pie.
That is not a Thanksgiving pie.
Do you like apple crumble at least?
Yep.
Okay.
Apple pie? Do you have apple pie at Thanksgiving?
Nope.
Cherry pie. You have cherry pie at Thanksgiving.
Uh-huh.
Wow.
But
I am like,
you didn't let me finish.
I'm blown away.
You didn't let me finish. I will eat pumpkin pie one time a year, just typically around Thanksgiving, but it has to be the pumpkin pie that comes from Costco,
Yeah.
Oh,
which is so weird.
no, it's not weird. They do a good pie.
Yeah. They're
I don't like any of the other ones, but like that one's got that little layer of gelatin
Yeah,
stuff on
right.
top, which is obviously the secret sauce. It makes
Yeah.
it all okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I'll only eat like one piece. I don't love pumpkin pie.
So when I asked Shane this, he said he had to have like whipped cream on it, like
Yes.
Cool Whip.
Yeah. I have something. I have to have some whipped cream or ice
Yeah.
cream or something.
I agree.
Yeah.
I can't eat it plain because I don't like it.
That's fair.
But the cherry pie, like, you can have whatever pie you want whenever you want. You're an adult. Like, if you've decided that cherry pie is your favorite, it's like birthday cake. You can have birthday cake whenever you want.
I agree. I totally agree.
You don't have to wait till it's your birthday. You could be just like a random Tuesday that was
Yeah.
kind of crappy, and you go home,
Tuesday
just-
cake.
pick up an ice cream cake from Dairy Queen, and come home and just like have them write happy birthday on it. Because you're an adult, and they're not going to stop you. They don't ID you when you do it. You just bring it home and set it down and be like, I'm having birthday cake today.
That would be the
And I can.
best. That would be the best thing if you got ID'd every time you tried to buy a cake.
Sorry, I have to ensure that it's your actual birthday
It has
today.
to be within a week of your birthday in order for you to buy cake from
right.
now on.
So
Anyways,
get yourself, as an adult, if you like lemon meringue pie, if that's your favorite pie,
yeah.
then have it at Thanksgiving, because you don't typically have it all of the time. So just have it when on the special
When you
occasion,
like it.
when you want it.
Yeah. I agree with you.
All right. I made a big stink about pies as a kid growing up, and like I wouldn't eat any of the other ones. So the reason we get cherry pie on Thanksgiving
It's
is
because
like,
of you.
yeah. But they also have pumpkin pie, but
That's fair.
Mom makes
Yeah.
sure she makes a
A
cherry
special
pie
cherry
because
pie.
that's for me. That's what I want.
Yeah, my grandma would do that for me too. I never liked birthday cake as a kid.
What?
Yeah.
When you had
What
birthday
is
cakes
happening?
as a kid, when you had birthday cakes as a kid, did they ever hide money in your cake?
Money cakes.
No, never.
Have you heard of this?
No. Well, I've heard of the
These-
one where you put like the.
These are
baby
children we're
in it.
dealing with now.
The what?
There's like a Mexican thing where you put a baby.
Okay.
What a
in the
baby.
cake, like
Yep.
a little plastic baby, and then whoever
Gets
gets the
that.
baby has to like pay for the cake or something.
Oh, it's a
Oh.
negative thing.
Yeah.
So we were growing up, we had money cakes, and it was like an angel food cake, but my mom would put like money in it.
In wax paper.
Oh.
Mine wasn't. That was before, like
Oh, this is before. Oh,
This-
I was in the wax
like-
paper era.
generation. Yeah, you were slightly younger. But then you would like cut up the cake, and it would be quarters and dimes and stuff. And so you'd
Oh.
be like a 5-year-old or a 6-year-old, and you'd get a piece of cake and you'd be eating, and then all of a sudden you get money, and you're like, I got money. So
I feel like that would lead to a lot of swallowed dimes or something.
they probably did.
But,
Yeah,
But
Oh.
that's
Everyone-
likely why they wrapped it in wax paper, so it was easier to dig out.
yeah.
exactly.
Interesting.
When you bit it, it didn't hurt as much.
Yeah. Well, you're on your baby teeth, so they're all coming out anyways. So, cleaning and maintaining your deck for the fall. So, this is like we're talking about composite decking or composite.
We're
decking.
talking about composite deck.
Wood and staining and all that stuff. Like, a quick brief about that is that you probably should stain your deck in the fall if you have a wood deck or some sort of
Cedar, hardwood,
Yep.
softwood,
wood deck,
came from a tree.
because it sets that deck up for a really, like, it's really protected going into the most harsh elements of the year, right? Winter is the worst. It's like coldest, and there's like a freeze thaw cycle 2 times that it's going to go through. And
So at the beginning of its life, when it's oiled, that is the like time when it's the strongest.
It's just
has the most protection.
just most protected
Okay.
when it's, and
I
so,
wasn't sure if it needed
yeah.
some
And
time.
then so probably redoing that in the fall, going into the fall is the best.
Okay.
For composite, I'm guilty of saying it's a maintenance free product.
It's not.
It is.
supposedly.
Yeah, I argue that it's still maintenance free because washing isn't maintenance. That's just part of care. It's just what it is.
It's just maintaining.
Yeah. So some things to watch for in the winter time. You want to avoid standing water on your composite deck.
Yep.
And I think that that's a really, really obvious thing to us because we deal with this all the time. But I would say a lot of people don't think of that immediately because there's a plastic cap on there. And so what happens is people are like, oh, it has a plastic cap. It can't be hurt. But standing water on anything hurts it.
Yep.
Water always wins, right?
Water always wins.
It erodes rocks.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? It changes the landscape of the earth. So water wins. So get it off the deck because even though you have a protective layer of plastic on there, it's going to either weaken that or freeze and thaw on it. And so not good.
And this is just a question for me. Is it also like showing that maybe you need to re-level your deck?
It could be it. Typically with a composite deck, you have a space in between each board, and so it should roll off the edge. What it might tell you is that you have like cupped deck boards, which is unfortunate, but that does happen occasionally.
Yeah.
So yeah, just try and like squeegee it off. I'm not saying like you have to take your leaf blower and dry the whole deck off. Just like if there's
air blow your deck.
Yeah, if there's like a pool of water in the one deck board, take a broom or a squeegee and get it off of there.
Get it off.
That's all.
Yeah.
Okay. And then if you wanted to, like, some things that you could do in the fall to prepare for that would be to like maybe redirect your downspouts, or, you know, if you had certain pots and stuff that were going to, you know, catch snow as it went onto your deck or catch leaves and water, move those pots around. So just kind of like prep the area, get it ready.
Yeah. Would it be good to like tarp your deck?
No.
If you're not going to use it? No.
I wouldn't.
Okay.
Yeah.
That would trap moisture, right?
It would.
Yeah.
But also, like, it's designed to hold up to some of the elements, right?
It's meant to be outside.
It's meant to be outside, right? So you don't have to change it and like basically put it inside. You just have to keep some stuff off of it.
That's fair.
Good.
Yep.
Ventilate the underside of your deck is also really good. Like that's a great plan. So if you have kind of half enclosed it all year, you're about to get ready for some snow and a wet spring. So to have that area kind of open so you can have some airflow go through there, probably not so much for fall and winter, but more so that when it starts to get damp in the spring, you don't have to then be kind of in the snow and in the mud getting it ready, right?
Yeah.
So prep that area.
Especially because that seems to be more prevalent nowadays, is like people finishing off their decks. I would say like 15 years ago.
People were trying lattice, like they would still do stuff, but lattice never affected airflow, right? There was always good.
Right. So, yeah, exactly. Deck all mesh is
backyard
good.
living has certainly changed how people deal with that.
That's how because my deck's not enclosed in the bottom.
You should watch a YouTube video about how to do that.
Yeah, well,
could happen.
I've seen it done. I've just never done it.
Well,
get on it, Bryce. Let's go.
Awkward.
I'm just one of those guys.
So you're refusing to buy stuff from us because
yeah.
Well, I don't want to do the work.
Yeah, exactly.
Minimize the mulch around your deck. So mulch is just like a moisture holder.
Organic mulch, right? Like wood and
right. So that type of mulch, like wood, leaves, it just holds moisture. That's not ideal.
Does it? And it like decomposes and can stain your deck. That kind of thing too, sure. I assume.
Yeah, it could probably stain like some of the deck boards if you had deck boards kind of running into the ground. So even just pulling that mulch back away from those boards would be that's probably a good practice.
Good practice.
Yeah.
What about the like end cut stuff too? Would that stuff like, because like for deck boards, like I just saw this was that accent end cut stuff.
Yeah, that's
Bingo
new.
dabber.
That stuff.
It's
Brand new.
Bingo dabber, right?
Yep.
I would never have thought to color coat my, like, you know, cover up the ends of the cuts for deck boards necessarily.
Yeah.
If you don't have a picture frame deck, I guess.
Yep.
But does that add protection too?
like, I don't know that you could say that it scientifically does, but of course it does. You've painted the end. So you've added a layer of protection.
Yeah.
I don't know how porous that paint is when it goes on.
Yeah.
So there might be some sort of penetration that like moisture can get through there, but it's certainly more protected with it on than not.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of like that stuff that you put on the end of treated boards too, right? Except it doesn't penetrate as much potentially.
Right. And so I would say that this paint, this Accent. Oh, yeah.
AXX.
Yeah. So I would say that the Accent paint does not penetrate like the treatment stuff that we carry. That's different. That soaks into the board and
gets in there.
It definitely protects. So,
okay.
Yeah. So the painted ends that'd be pretty good. Like, what it won't do is it won't hurt.
Would you do that so that like, that was one question I had about that product too. Would you do that even if you were like picture framing like putting a picture frame around? Like, would you do it like you would do, because you would end cut it?
So I wouldn't put that on if it was going to be a cut that was not visible. Like if you're doing a 3-sided picture frame and you were going to miter and the one cut end, like the blunt square cut end was going to end up against the house and then the miter on the other, I would not paint the end that was against house.
Okay.
Personally. Some people might do that, but if it was visible, then I would paint it. I think it's a cosmetic
Oh, okay.
solution. I don't think it's structural.
Okay.
So
questions I've had.
Yep. Well, that happens when you think,
Oh.
Okay.
What's next? How else do I maintain my
Woven
beautiful dick?
woven rugs. So I think this is a good practice all the time with composite decking or composite decking. I don't think that you should do rubber back rugs of any kind.
Yeah, I had never thought about this until I read it.
So there's a couple things that can happen. So sometimes if you have the wrong rubber back, it can actually react with the other rubber that's there.
Yeah.
Or the other, like the
cap.
Yeah, the composite cap or the PVC cap. It's a plastic, right? And so much like metals, if you put two metals together, the aluminum and steel, they don't react properly, right? And so similarly with two different types of plastic, you can put those together and sometimes they don't react well with each other. So any kind of rug that has a rubber back or a plastic back is a bad idea. And then, especially going into winter,
yep,
if you're going to do that, then you have this possibility of trapping moisture between those two layers and then freeze thaw. So that's
then you wreck your rug.
Added pressure. Well, it's added pressure on the deck, and you probably wreck the rug. And maybe you're just better off to have a woven rug.
Woven rug.
And they'll be on sale in the fall.
Oh, yeah.
They're easy.
So
I think we have some.
Do we?
Yeah, we do. I think we have a woven rug.
Like you personally?
No, I meant here.
The Ultimate Deck
at the
Shop.
Ultimate Deck Shop.
Where?
Downstairs. We have a bunch of rugs.
We sell these things?
We sell rugs.
No.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm telling you. Ever since this whole Shane does the purchasing thing.
You thought we only sold decks. Correct.
So that recently I had that conversation with that Accent paint. I was in Calgary and I was at board meetings and one of the guys at the board meeting was like, "You got to try this paint." And I was like, "Oh, that's so fantastic." And he sent me the link and I sent it to Shane and was like, "You got to try this." And Shane's like, "Yeah, we got some on the floor." So then I said to Joel, I was like, "Turns out we already have it." So Shane thought it was a great idea too. So
apparently he didn't let you know.
Didn't matter.
It didn't matter.
Nope.
I didn't know about it either until I saw the video about it and I was like, that's pretty cool stuff.
It's like to Fraser's point, communication's poor in here. We need to tell each other stuff. It's like things are coming in, nobody knows what's in. Exactly. It's like you're supposed to be promoting it, you don't even know we have it.
Yeah, exactly. Woven rugs?
Yeah, exactly. But oh well.
Is there more? Is there more to maintaining my deck than woven rugs?
Well, there's a little bit more. So one of the things that probably happens in the summertime with just regular maintenance, you want to make sure that you've swept off gravel and rocks. So this stuff gets tracked on. And again, it's a little bit structural and it's a little bit cosmetic. If you bring too many rocks onto the deck, you'll scratch it up.
Yep.
And it's like, well, that's cosmetic. But if like one of those rocks gets underneath a chair into the plastic of the leg and then it goes back and forth, and then you end up scratching through the surface, now that's become structural, right? Because you've wrecked
moisture
the cap.
can get in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So a little bit structural, a little bit cosmetic, but you should sweep off all the rocks and etc. That's a good thing to do in the fall. Then the idea of prepping for winter is that in the wintertime, you are allowed to use ice melt on a composite deck.
Oh, you can just use the normal concrete driveway.
Yeah,
ice
it's
melt.
supposed to be calcium nitrate in it, right? And so as long as it has,
that's good for your dogs anyway. So
so as long as it's the calcium nitrate stuff, you'll be fine. But you shouldn't just leave it on the deck. Like throw it on, let it kind of break the ice up, and then sweep it off.
Yeah.
And so much like rocks and gravel, don't let it just stay on the deck. Like get it off the deck. So,
right. Okay.
So that's good to like sweep all the rocks off and
probably don't use a shovel.
Yeah, you're not going to want to use a steel shovel or a steel bladed shovel, but plastic shovels are fine.
Okay. You're not going to damage.
You just don't want to you don't want to wreck it.
You don't want to scratch your deck.
It's like an investment, you know?
Yeah. I want to keep that deck looking good.
That's right.
Got to protect your deck investment.
Your deck investment.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. The other thing that happens, so once fall has happened and all the leaves have dropped to the ground, some of these will end up on the deck and then they end up in the spaces between the deck boards.
Mm-hmm.
So you should clean that out. You should like take those leaves out of there. And that's an awful job. It's super boring and nobody wants to do that. But if you leave them in there and then the snow melts and thaws and freezes and thaws and freezes and thaws, it's going to affect the side of your deck board because all of these deck boards are grooved. They're like, and so
I didn't even think about that.
Will fill up in that area to like swell and then contract, and it'll start to like, it's possible that it'll break the bond with the fastener because it lands on top of the joist.
Right.
So if you imagine your joist running this way and the boards are like the joist is running north and south and the boards are running east and west, and that leaf lands on top of the joist in between the boards, gets wet and then fills up, it like freezes and swells, and it like puts pressure on that deck board and that fastener, and it can pop that fastener out of there.
Mm-hmm.
So
it could just loosen your deck boards as it is.
Sure, it could just loosen them too. It might not have. It wouldn't be as extreme as breaking them apart, probably. But
then you might get a squeaky deck.
So, anyways, if you can keep that material out of the cracks of the deck board, that's good.
Taking that one home with me today.
Yeah.
I was just like, I didn't even think about the groove in between the board, because the groove in and of itself isn't sealed either. They don't seal. They don't put the
depends
plastic.
Which board it. Depends which company it is, but the majority of them are not.
Right.
So TimberTech does.
TimberTech does.
All the other guys are not.
It's just routed after the fact generally.
Mm-hmm.
So there you go. Now you know. Now you know more.
Yeah, and some of them, like if you're using those ones that have a wood plastic composite core, WPC core, those ones always are a little more susceptible to all this moisture problem that we talk about.
Because it's got organic material in it.
Right. Because then say you get a bunch of moisture in there and then it starts to get warm and you haven't done a really good job of getting all the leaves out of there, then it can start to grow mold and mildew, and now all of a sudden your deck is like moldy, and that's a consequence of some organic content in the board and also your lack of maintenance.
So,
but a decorator's one won't ever get the mold or maintenance, like the mold or mildew, because it's, or a PVC one won't get mold or mildew because there's no organic content in it.
Right. Does a PVC board swell? Like, could it swell? Whereas like a WPC might be able to because of the organic content, right?
Yeah. So what we're talking about happening is the pressure from the moisture actually forcing the board to change shape, because the leaf, like the wet leaf, is going to become bigger.
Mm-hmm. Not necessarily the organic material inside the board.
Right. That's later.
Wet.
That's later. If you leave too much moisture against it,
gets in there,
then it will.
Okay.
Right. But so this initial problem or initial like possible problem.
Yeah. It's not necessarily very likely to happen.
No, it's pretty low likelihood actually.
Yeah.
But that's like both of them are susceptible to that.
Mm-hmm.
Then the mold and mildew part that shows up is only WPC.
Okay.
PVC and mineral-based MBC will not.
Right.
Yeah.
So does snow affect mineral-based as much as it does? Like, do you have to worry about snow even? Because mineral based is used for like wet situations, right? Like people use it for docks and stuff.
Correct. No, like yes and no. No,
it's still on a wood frame, right?
correct. It's not going to, like the board itself will be fine with the moisture of it.
Mm-hmm.
And the board itself will be fine because of expansion and contraction. It doesn't move nearly as much as PVC or WPC. But you do still have to worry about having moisture getting in between the board and the frame. That can change.
Gotcha.
And that's whether it's steel frame or wood frame. It makes no difference. It's the expansion of that moisture that causes some problems.
Right. A little drop of water can create a crack in concrete. So
Correct.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
You gotta watch out for that.
Yeah. Watch out for moisture.
So
Nobody likes moisture.
You'd recommend that we do mineral based composite probably in like the places that get a winter essentially? Like
no, I don't think it
doesn't matter.
Nope,
really?
I don't think it matters. I think what's most important is just making sure that any of the spots that, like I've talked about, if there's any of the spots that look like they could trap and hold moisture, then make sure you get that out of there somehow, right?
Yeah.
And then also the stones and rocks. Those are they're bad for both.
Bad for your deck.
Moisture's bad for both, and the stones and rocks are bad for both.
Mm-hmm.
And so, different ways to treat that.
Yeah.
I think that was it. Nope, it says scrub grease.
There's one more.
But that's an everyday thing.
Yeah.
Right.
That's not I don't believe that's a prep it for winter kind of thing. That's just
most degreasers also work.
Yeah.
To get rid of that stuff.
Depending on what the cap is, right? So
Gotta be
if
careful.
there is a cap, fine. Degreaser will be good. If there's no cap, maybe
then
just
you're
leave it.
screwed.
Maybe just leave it. Well, yeah, because you might be better off to just put grease on the whole deck.
Just oil your deck.
Well,
take your burger grease, put it on a paintbrush.
Yeah, exactly. Now you got an artsy
like it sounds
deck.
totally ridiculous, right? But
Yeah.
if you think about it, it's probably better for it actually, because
Yeah.
you've treated it, you've stained it.
And
so,
I was like,
a
what is
really-
going on?
Really, really expensive way to oil your deck.
Yeah.
Hamburger grease.
Yeah, I think there was a company that used to make a stain for composite decking before. They used to be like, here, you can just put this on your composite deck. And
Really?
essentially it's just oil. Because what would happen is people would buy these decks and then it would fade, and because there was no cap on it. And so the product's all faded and has changed colors. But much like when you wash a faded vehicle, you like put water on it and then it would be brighter and shinier. And it was, this
Right.
is so
So
good.
you just
So then they were just oiling their whole deck, and then people were like, well, I bought this composite and I thought it was supposed to be maintenance free. And it was like, well, I just gave you a solution to get it back to a more vibrant color like what you wanted.
Yeah.
You don't have to do this.
right. It's not gonna hurt it or
But if you do have a deck that's an uncapped composite and you spill grease on it, I've heard this 100 times. It's like, well, it's really bright and I like that. Like the rest of my deck is so matte and unfinished and I don't like, how do I fix that? I want to take that shiny part away because it makes the rest of it look bad. So I want that spot to look bad too. And people look at me like I have 3 heads when I'm like, well, just oil the whole deck.
go the other way.
Because you can't get rid of that. That's
Yeah.
not possible.
Right.
So anyways, I'm 0 for 100 on people oiling their deck.
Right.
But
Exactly.
I'm going to keep trying.
Just cook the goose without taking the fat out and then just throw it on the deck.
Right. Or buy Q-Deck.
Oh yeah, sorry. Well, I was just like, use the same thing.
Could you imagine you like smear food grease all over your place? You
You know
got
how
like
many flies?
stray
Oh,
dogs,
man.
stray fries. I don't know. If
Now
you,
I
like,
got this dog problem.
Yeah, if you live in an area where there's bears, but it was like every day you walk out, there'd be bears licking your deck. It's like, get. Anyways, then
Yeah.
you could shoot it.
Then see,
Yeah, and then it's like it's a
it's a circle of life.
Tricked you. And bear grease is actually a really, really good grease. It would go a long ways. We might be onto something here,
See,
actually.
yeah,
This
what are you
circle of
talking
life
about?
really could actually be a thing.
We'll just like bait a bunch of bears with like an old deck that's been greased up.
I might try
That would be the
next
video.
spring. I might try that next spring, actually, like drag out a 7x7 deck area and just like set it in the forest,
Yeah, exactly.
oil it with bear grease.
Put
and be
your
like,
trail cam on it.
Yeah.
Put that on YouTube.
Oh my goodness.
Okay. Is there any other maintenance tips that you
that's
got?
All that I had.
That's all that I know too,
same.
because I read about it.
At 3 o'clock. It's like
It's pretty
everybody's
close.
It's like,
Yeah,
okay,
it's like
I'm done too. Yeah, that's it. Wrap it up.
Yeah, I think it's good though.
Oh.
I think that's good.
Are you
Anything
looking
else you
forward
want to say?
You're looking forward to the winter?
I am looking forward to the. Wow, no, I'm looking forward to Christmas.
Looking
Like
forward
every
to
year,
Halloween.
I like Christmas. So
Christmas.
up until Christmas, I like winter. After Christmas, I hate winter.
Well, that's because January and February are awful.
Yeah, welcome
It's
to
awful.
Saskatchewan.
Cold here. It's awfully cold here.
Right, exactly. And fall is the same way for me because like fall's nice up until all the leaves fall off the tree,
Mm-hmm.
and they do that like immediately.
Yeah.
One shot, everything falls.
Well,
They
with
turn-
with all the wind you get here, I mean, it
Oh,
doesn't
yeah.
take very much.
Yeah, they turn color for one weekend, and
Yeah.
then it's just like,
And you're
poof,
like,
gone.
woo, and then it's like all on your yard. Now you got to deal with it.
I think I might go out to the Wascana Trails this weekend.
Yeah, Wascana trails are nice. White Butte trails are nice out here too.
Yeah,
Yep.
White Butte's nice for taking dogs.
Yeah.
Take
I like the
my
White
dogs
Butte
out there.
ones quite a bit because it's more like trees. Like you're walking in between
Right.
rows of trees more often.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not taking my dog. He's so out of control, man.
Yeah,
The only way I could take him is if we went for like a 20-mile run first.
yeah,
Then I could take him.
Is he a good hunting dog though?
Not
Yet?
not yet. He isn't.
He's getting there.
So far, he's not. I haven't been bird hunting with him in a while. That season is open again. October 1st is when pheasants start, so I'll try sometime in October.
it's funny.
There you go.
Funny
Nice.
that you mentioned that. When I went to White Butte, there was like a bunch of like prairie chickens that
Yeah.
were
Yeah,
like
yeah.
in the grass. So we
Yeah.
have a German Shepherd Border Collie mix,
Oh,
and then
yes.
I have a pit bull.
Okay.
And so the Shepherd Collie mitts just like honed in immediately on the birds, and then my pit bull was just like lofting around.
Yeah.
So funny.
I saw a meme earlier today that said pit bulls are land sea lions.
Yeah, yeah.
That's what
There's
they look like.
They
little-
do a bunch of all
little
these pictures
seals.
of sea lions, and they're like the same face.
Yeah,
Yeah,
It's pretty
exactly.
funny.
Have you ever seen like the prairie chickens like when they have a nest nearby and they do that like I'm dying thing
That's a
to
killdeer.
pull you away?
That's a killdeer that
Is
does
that
that.
what is that what it is? I didn't know the difference before.
the
but-
mothers do that too. I thought, don't they? For
It's a killdeer
chicken?
does
Yeah.
that.
So what's the killdeer is just another bird.
It's like a white one with
Oh, okay.
a red or a brown wing.
Yeah. And they just
Are you saying that like a prairie chicken does that? or
I've seen a
partridge does
prairie
it?
I've seen
That
a prairie
happens?
chicken do it then. Like cuz they're not it wasn't white, it was just like all
Gray.
gray.
That's likely a partridge.
Yeah.
We likely around town you
Gary
won't see a
partridges.
ton of prairie
Prairie
chickens.
chickens.
They're too big. They're bigger.
They're
bird.
bigger. Yeah.
But
It's
a
like a raven
partridge,
and a
there's
crow.
there's lots of partridges around town.
Yeah.
There's been a bunch of bald eagles out at my farm too. Like
They're the best.
3 of them
Nice.
just in a tree.
So I didn't know that partridges did that. I've never seen that.
Yeah, I've seen lots of them do that. When I was surveying all the time, you'd be walking through the bush and there'd be just one just
Drop
being
down.
like
Yeah.
you'd be like, I'm not going anywhere near your like I'm not trying to kill you, man.
Right. But they're like, you could because I'm so injured. If you wanted to,
If you wanted to.
I'm the one.
Severely depressed partridges.
Exactly. And then you get up to it and it's like, ah.
Yep.
But you don't know where my nest is. And I was like, yeah, I do, you idiot. It's over there.
I watched.
I watched you walk away from it.
Okay, that's it.
Okay,
Alrighty.
that's it.
That's all I got.
Shut her down, guys. See you next week. It's been a
Hey, thank you for listening to the Ultimate Deck Podcast. Now you know what we're about. Check the site, come and shop. UltimateDeckShop.com. Hit us right away for sponsorships or tell us if you want to collaborate. Let's go. Check us out on any social networks. Thank you for listening.